got the touch. You got the power. Savior of the universe.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today on DJB Productions Network to get through this thing called Those Crazy 80s. I am one of your hosts, Foxy Foxxy, aspiring author, former independent professional wrestler, and resident Twitch nerd herder. Joining me is the man of the decadent 80s, who you can also see on Bite Me, DJs After Dark, Unsung Heroes, on the DJB Productions Network YouTube channel, and also a jock for 102.9 WMGK, Chris Gordon. I think you're muted, honey.
I did it again. I keep hitting this button. It's crazy. Yeah, there you go. How you doing, Foxy? I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. I am good. How are you, dear?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. When I'm not muted, I'm doing fantastic.
Well, you got to stay unmuted.
I know. It's kind of weird. It's like it hits my leg and it just mutes. It's crazy. Crazy stuff.
Usually that's not what happens when people get their legs, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well. Well, it's not the 80s anymore. So what's happening?
It isn't our... Nothing but dig, if you will, this episode. Today,
yes,
we're touching upon the man. He had the look. He made us delirious in anticipation of 1999. The icon, Prince.
Prince
This is your suggestion,
Rogers.
actually.
Yes, Prince Rogers Nelson, born June 7th, 1958. And unfortunately left us in 2016. So
yeah,
yeah.
I'm still not over him or Bowie going like at all. I'm not.
Yeah, they were both. They were both shocking. Prince more though for me. That completely took me. I was blindsided by that. You know, didn't see that coming. So, and I'm sure he had a lot more to offer. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
So, what was your first introduction to Prince?
Oh goodness. I have so many Prince stories that it's so funny. But the first introduction to Prince that I can recall was his video for Raspberry Beret.
Okay.
On MTV.
Yeah.
And at that time, that became like my absolute favorite song. Like I had the vinyl of it. I would constantly sing along to it. So that was my first exposure to him. Like, who is this man?
Yeah.
Because of course, with the androgyny, you're like, okay, wait a minute.
Right.
No.
Well, you know, it's interesting. He originally recorded Raspberry Beret in '82. And reworked it when he reformed the Revolution with the backing band, and which, you know, interesting. Raspberry Beret is probably my favorite Prince song. It's not the one that got me, you know, that I got hip to him with, but it was definitely has been 80s era Prince, because Diamonds and Pearls in the 90s, just that was it for me.
Oh.
Like I wore that album out. But that one, yeah. So that was actually the one that became a hit. The Raspberry Beret that became a hit was originally recorded it was reworked from a 1982 recording. So that's pretty cool. Yep. Yeah. I'm trying to think. It's embarrassing what record that was off of. What was that record?
Raspberry Beret.
It was from Around the World in a Day. That's right.
Yes.
Around the World in a Day. That was the one. Yep. 1985, I believe. It was the first single off that album. Great record.
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, I guess for me it was well, it goes back probably to 1980 for me. I was aware of him. I think it was Dirty Mind. We're going back. This is obviously pre-Purple Rain. The real, yeah, Dirty Mind. It was 1980. Yeah. With the songs. Let's see. It had the two songs on it that really were pretty intense. Head and Sister. Those two. Yeah. That we're talking about, could not be released today.
Oh, hell
no. There was some pretty crazy stuff, but that was my first time hearing him. But it was obvious. Then 1999 was the one that, that's when he really was. He was in our living room every day, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. God, that album, that song. Actually, see another funny Prince story, because 1999 obviously was like, whoa! It was like the shit. And, at that time, I'd done the math and realized, while I was quite young, like, oh my God, I'm going to graduate high school in 1999. So, of course, that made me like,
okay. Yeah.
But, my classmates didn't exactly have the same mentality as I did, because I still will never forgive them till this day for, like, missing out on the fact that we could have used 1999 as our graduation song.
Oh, you didn't do that? Really? I mean, I'm surprised you guys didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
They chose some R&B, whatever. I don't know. I can't even remember what it was, because it was so like, really?
Wow, that's almost kind of like
unforgivable.
A given. Yeah.
Right?
It's almost a given. You would do that. So so before 1999 there was Controversy. That was the record that predated that. But 1999, it's hard to say whether that was actually the breakthrough, because Purple Rain was really the breakthrough.
Oh yeah.
But he had his first hit off in 1999, first top 10 hit, which was, I believe, Little Red Corvette.
Yes.
Which interested. Okay, I have a few, but the one I have, Little Red Corvette. When Stevie Nicks recorded "Stand Back,"
yes,
she was inspired by Little Red Corvette. That's where she got the idea for the riff. Prince played on that track. Prince played the keyboards on that track on "Stand Back."
I was hoping you would mention that, because if not, I was, because I'm a diehard Stevie Nicks fan, and that's like my favorite fun fact to like tell anybody that'll listen.
Yeah, no, it was, and I thought it was really cool that he came in and played on it. I was like, and according to Stevie Nicks, the first thing he played on the keyboard is what made the record. Like, it was just that quick, But that was before. Was 1999? I don't know if wasn't the Revolution yet. He still had that other guitar player in the band. What was his name? I really liked him. Des Dickerson. And of course, Lisa Coleman was in the band too at the time. Before I guess Wendy came in, but Des was in the band at the time. What a great record, man! So many great songs on that. Let's see, Little Red Corvette, obviously the title track.
We had Delirious, which was in Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes, Horny Toad, the B-side to that was Horny Toad. All kinds of stuff. Irresistible Bitch. Just great stuff.
He was all about breaking those lyrical boundaries. I love it.
Yeah, well, he was also like, and I'm not drawing the comparison on a stylistic level, but on a visionary level, he reminded me a lot of Zappa, in the sense that he was prolific, constantly writing.
Yeah.
He had libraries and vaults full of material. Um, but unlike Zappa, he was writing for others. He was constantly, writing for others. As a matter of fact, that song "Kiss" was originally for another artist. It was for a Paisley Park artist, and he took it back.
Hmm.
So he delivers it to them, and then they start working on it, and he's listening to it. He's like, "I'm taking that back."
Yeah, you guys aren't doing a good job.
Oh, he knew it was a hit. It was kind of like the same thing that happened with Stevie Wonder when he wrote "Superstitious." I'm not getting. I don't want to get off track, but when Stevie Wonder wrote "Superstitious," he wrote it for Jeff Beck, for an album that Jeff Beck was working on. And when he started playing the riff in the studio, and there's Jeff like getting ready, like, "Oh, this is cool. Like, we'll record this." Stevie goes, "Stop the session." He goes, "You can't have it. It's too good. I got to take it." So Stevie Wonder kept it, and that's what Prince did on the song "Kiss." So what was it? Your deal was it? The movie Purple Rain or the album first for you? What
The
happened
album.
first? The album
Definitely
first, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
like, I mean, of course it was like the fun songs that caught you. Like "I Would Die for You" is the one that hooked me and was like, oh, okay,
Oh,
the
yeah.
album. But then, you hear "Purple Rain," especially the long version, not the short made for radio version.
Mm-hmm.
And from the day I first heard it till this very day, because it played yesterday randomly on my playlist, like, it will still make me cry so much. Like that
Yeah.
ending guitar riff and just the emotion. And it was like, whoa.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah. Yeah. And it was, it was perfectly placed, even in the movie, how it, just ends with it. It's just really good. If I remember with Purple Rain, obviously in the movie, it was the centerpiece of the film, and it was the key plot point, obviously. But if I remember this correctly, the recording, which is also on the record and in the movie, the very recording was actually a live recording that he later went in and added to. So it wasn't something that actually got worked up in the studio. It was it was a show he was doing.
Yeah.
I believe it was in Detroit, and they recorded the show, and he brought this back, and he's like, "Oh, I got something here," and he built on it, and that's what we hear on the record. So it really was basically a single take piece. It's so good, and of course the guitar work on it. I mean, for me being a guitar player, it was just
Of course.
mind-boggling. Like, it was just so good, fantastic. So so that was the and this is all pre-Jehovah Witness, because once he became a Jehovah Witness, he got away from those lyrics. He got away from those suggestive lyrics. But
I mean,
that was great stuff.
He didn't need it anymore after a while, so many people focused on the controversy of his lyrics and his looks that after a while it was like, now I could just really say what I want to say and do what I want to do. I'm fucking Prince, like.
Yeah. Well, he was an artist first. I mean, even all of that stuff, like, even, I mean, he really was probably the first artist that I saw, let's put it this way, the first artist that I related to that constantly evolved. He was constantly evolving. Like, it was never, you would think that somebody that had the success of Purple Rain would have stayed on that path, and said, "Oh, well, this works. This is the formula. I'm just going to," but he was already, by the time that, probably by the time the movie premiered, he was already somewhere else. He was already moving on to what would, I guess, be Around the World in a Day. I think that was the follow-up. Because he made he made a lot of movies after that. Under the Cherry Moon, Sign of the Times, and Graffiti Bridge, right? But
Yes.
yeah, but he was constantly evolving. He was just moving on, doing his thing, and he was always just super cool. I guess that's my takeaway from him all the time, was that he was always cool. It was just, always cool.
He just had cool air about him too. Just like, I just want to stand next to the man.
Yeah. Well, he had it.
He had
He had the X factor. He had, He had that from day one, and I think he knew it. I mean, his first demo he put together, he was getting offers from Warner Brothers, and a matter of fact, that's who he signed with originally, was Warner Brothers. But
Mhm.
it was just, it was the momentum for him was pretty quick. But at the same time, he had to grow on it, because his first recordings were 76, but it
Mhm.
wasn't under his name. In 1980 was under his name. But think about that, though. That was 4 years. It took him 4 years to break. And in today's music industry, if you didn't break in 4 months, it didn't
Mhm.
happen. But for him, it took him 4 years, and became iconic.
Yeah.
Absolutely iconic. You know.
And then went
So
on
you
to
have,
create like others in the process. Like, not many artists these days can create so many separate successful artists from themselves in a way. Like, because from him we got Sheila E doing
yep,
solo stuff. We were introduced to Morris Day and the Time, and like even so far as him giving the Bangles Manic Monday and them getting a huge hit after that. Like, he gave back, and he saw talent and gave them their platform, and
yep,
it was like everything just branched off into their own different direction, and it all stems back right to him.
yep, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and it's interesting because you could always, I mean, I could always tell. I could hear it. I was like, when Manic Monday came out, I'm like, oh, that's got to be a Prince song. I mean, obviously, not delivered in his way, but just that, the lyric content,
Mm-hmm.
the cleverness of how it was put together, and all of that stuff. That's Prince.
Oh yeah,
Just
definitely.
so good. So, what other Prince stories? Obviously focusing a lot on his 80's
Mm.
output. Um, Other Prince members. You ever see him live?
No,
No. Don't
no.
feel bad. I didn't either. You know.
I mean, it all honestly revolves, but believe it or not, around Purple Rain of all songs. Because
Mhm.
when I was pregnant with my first son, everybody picks the color for their kid, and usually blue is the boy thing. But my husband and I picked purple for some reason.
Okay.
And the day that he was born, when I woke up, it was raining for starters. And I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
great. So I'm getting my bags packed and ready to go to the hospital. And the first thing I always do when I wake up is turn on the radio. So I put on whatever pop station was left on my stereo that day. And of
Hmm.
all songs to start playing was Purple Rain. I'm like, really? Okay.
Oh,
This is
there you
pretty
go.
interesting.
Oh, cool.
My little Purple Rain story.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that was the ultimate start for him, and then
Mm.
in the public eye, and then moved on from there. Um, yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, again, like you said, I didn't see him perform, but I did follow him, and I did spend some time learning that music. I spent a lot of time learning it, because I was like, what's he doing? Like, why is this so good? And it was really unique. It was kind of his own thing. There was something unique about it. I mean, I could hear certain influences, but they never were, you know, too in your face. There was definitely something he was doing. The other thing that I was really into about him was his the fact that he was self-produced. Something that always fascinated me about artists were the people that were not only capable of self-producing, but were fantastic at it. It was not easy to do, but he knew, you know, um, and every chance he took, it just, you know, it always seemed to work. It
Mm-hmm.
just always landed on its feet. So, so that was your favorite tune off of Purple Rain. So let's moved to, oh, and obviously Raspberry Beret, which was off the next one. So what was after that? What was the follow-up to was it Parade? I guess it was Parade, right?
I think it
Yep.
was either. Yeah, because I think there's one more, and then there was the Batman soundtrack that he did.
The Batman thing, yeah. That was wow, that was late. That was 89.
Yeah.
I remember. Bat Dance, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was it.
It was an epic video.
Yeah,
That
it
was an
was.
epic video, though. That was in heavy MTV rotation at the time.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it sold the movie. It was really, really, it was intense. It actually, that one took me a little while to probably because I heard it so much, it finally kind of sunk in. But that took me a little bit to get into. I think that was the toughest one. I think for me. I don't know why. It just, but then it did. It was one of those that I finally got into. So it was, and of course he owned it in the video, which was a big part of selling it too. Yes, yeah, I guess that was around that time. That was late 80's. But Parade was, I say 87.
I can't remember.
That
one I liked.
Yeah, that was that was 87. That was Parade. And then after that was Sign of the Times. Then Love Sexy, and then the Batman soundtrack. And then as we got into then Graffiti Bridge. So that's really the encompassment. You've got Purple Rain, Around the World in a Day, Parade, Sign of the Times, Love Sexy, the Batman soundtrack, and Graffiti Bridge.
Damn.
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, and of course, obviously, that's not even all. There was a few albums in there that he did not release, that he didn't even release. One of them, I think it was like a concept record, and he bailed on it. He shelved it and went back in and recorded one of those other records, which of course only he could do, because he was that. There he is, nice bike. Got to purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. What a great line. Yeah, purify yourself. There was another artist he discovered. God, why does her name escape me? She was in the movie.
Oh, Apollonia.
That's it. Yeah, another one. So yeah, all that stuff. Just gotta love it. And the other thing that was great about him was he really did work hard on his I mean, I don't know if he worked hard on it, but he had that mystique. He wasn't, he wasn't out there. You had to. He left a lot to the imagination. What was going on, except for that. Except for that Chappelle story, where apparently Prince beat them in basketball. Apparently that's a true story. That actually happened.
Yeah, apparently it is.
And the pancakes were part of that story too, which I heard was true. I'm just trying to picture Prince making pancakes. Make some pancakes. Gotta love it. So what else we got on Prince? Just
there's just so much. So much you could say when it comes to him.
Because all this stuff. I'm trying to find when he started recording at his studio, which was I'm trying to find that date because that's the one place I always wanted to visit, which is now it's actually open. I believe it's open to the public.
Ooh.
The Paisley Park studio. Yeah.
Bucket list.
Yeah. There it is. What was the end of that skit? Skins. It's so good. Making them pancakes. Yeah. Let's see. Paisley Park. The Paisley Park Studios. That was not really well. Okay. Well, that wasn't until '94. His feud with Warner Brothers, when the feud that made him change his name. So that wasn't the '80s. Um, it was designed. It's not. It opened in '87. So Paisley Park Studios opened in September of '87. It has 2 live music venues inside of it, and a rehearsal space. Of course, obviously the recording studio. And it was his wish. One of his dying wish was to establish Paisley Park as a public venue, much like Graceland. Yeah. So, yeah, you can take tours of it. 65,000 square foot complex.
Wow.
Man, well, that's like a dream to be able to have a place like that. Oh, yeah.
Adding
Man,
that
how
to my
good.
bucket list. Oh my God.
Yeah, Minneapolis. Head on over and 65,000. Just picturing him making pancakes in there, though. Can't help it. All right. So, again, back to kind of his as he evolved. You know, so in 1985 it was Prince and the Revolution from '85 through '86. So that was Around the World in a Day and Parade. In '87 he went to just Prince. So the Revolution was gone. So Sign of the Times was just Prince. Love Sexy was just Prince and Graffiti Bridge. But by that point, we're in 1990. But in '91 is when he formed the New Power Generation, which is, and I love the Revolution. I thought that was like the perfect. That was the only time that I thought he might have. That was a little weird for me. Like, because I missed the Revolution originally, but then when the New Power Generation hit, I was like, yes, you know, that it was just too cool. Like, you know, especially the drummer. That drummer was just ridiculous. But yeah, the albums that he pumped out of there, it was like, Sheila E. Was, yeah, hey, that looks just like my studio. Sure, it does. Sheila E., which was Romance 1600. What else? She followed that up there. God, he recorded a lot of people there. Dale Bosio recorded there in '88. No, I'm a huge fan of Missing Persons. Riot in English was done there. George Clinton, The Cinderella Theory, he recorded there as well. Wow, a lot of great people recorded there.
I can imagine the magic they must have produced from there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know if Dan can bring that picture of that studio back up. Yes, I'm going to nerd out here for a minute. Look at that. Look at those monitors. Yeah, that's the way it's done. That's the way it's done right there. Look at that full automated board. That room is tuned. That room is absolutely tuned. Wow. So good. So good. Yeah, so here's a guy who made it happen, you know, really made it happen for himself, and had all the music to back it up, you know, and everything he did, you know, and of course, you know, as a guitar player, it was a treat to see him stand out when he played with Tom Petty and George Harrison's son, and he did that solo in While My Guitar Gently Weeps and just annihilated it, you know, just amazing, you know. Very and in a lot of ways I think he was somewhat, until not long before his passing, he was somewhat underrated as a guitar player, because I don't think people looked at him that way. They saw him as a composer, which he was, but he was an absolute terror on the guitar, like really,
Yes.
as well as other instruments. He was a multi-instrumentalist.
Mhm.
So
And
great stuff.
everything he did was like just meticulously. Everything had a purpose when he would create a song. Like
Yeah.
every sound made, every vocal range he did, like even down to just regular background noise if it was needed. It was with a purpose. It wasn't there just to be there. Like he had a grand plan with
Yeah.
everything he did. He never half-assed it, except
Yeah.
for the music awards where he literally half-assed it and worked assless pants.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that was one of the things that always fascinated me about it, and I do wish I could have actually witnessed him work, but that was the thing that I really liked about that idea of using the studio as an instrument, and he did that, you know. And I remember reading some years back, which was surprising to me, and then I went back and I listened heavily to the earlier recordings, you know, going back from Controversy forward, and that he was not a huge fan of heavy bass in his mixes. You know, if you listen to those recordings, I mean, obviously, yeah, it's interesting. And it wasn't until later, I forget when this was, it was in the 90s when he started working with Larry Graham, you know, unbelievable bass player. But Prince always was unique with the way he would mix the bass. He was not heavy into bringing the way we're used to hearing the bass. But it seemed to work. He made it. It was just part of his sound, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the chances he took, if the way he sang "Kiss" in falsetto, you know, and it was one of those moments where you're the first time you hear it, you're like, it's a crazy chance to take. You're going to sing this whole song in falsetto, and then there's that one line where he goes into his deep register, one word, and it just framed everything else he sang. Framed that one moment where you listen to the song all over again just to hear that part, you know, and that was his attention to detail, and his work ethic. And that was the thing that I took away too, is his work ethic in the studio. I mean, it would be 4 days straight he would work on something until he got it right, you know. And that stayed with me throughout the years. And my very first, I mean, I was young, very young. My very first little recording studio, I remember reading a lot of stuff about the way he would work in the studio, and I would try to emulate it, you know, like, oh, let me see if I can, you know, do weird things with the track to make this work, you know, and stuff like that. Of course, it sucked, but I mean, I was drawing from a good place. I was pulling from a good place, you know. I really enjoyed it. So it was great. What a great artist.
Definitely. Well, before we wrap this up, we'll leave this with two things before we do wrap it up. First was a fun fact I actually learned from my friend Dan just last week, because my friend Dan is a huge Phil Collins fan, like
Okay.
huge. Okay, and he dropped the bomb on me that Phil Collins' track "Studio" is 1999, and if you listen to it, it is. So
Studio, right?
Chance.
Hold on.
Yes,
Oh, no. Let's A/B this. I love doing stuff like this. This is like, I
Yes, it
live for
has
this
the
kind of stuff.
1999 riff.
Okay.
And
Here we go.
I can mentally hear it.
All right. I'll be okay. What I'm going to do is, and I don't know, man, Dan might be able to say this. I mean, I don't even think it's going to come through. But hold on. I have the technology. Watch this. Okay, what did you say it was? Did you say 1999?
Yes.
Same riff as 1999. Okay. All right, here we go. Oh, look at this. Oh, well, somebody's already done it. Wait a minute.
Wait.
Hold on. Oh, this is crazy. There already might be a comparison up. Hold on.
No way.
Let's try this. Yeah, this will be great. No. Let me try this. Sorry. Yeah, oh yeah, I love rabbit holes.
Blouses.
Studio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, I thought something came. All right, here we go. So I'm going to bring this up a little bit. Here we go. All right, hold up. So we're looking for the main riff, and let's see. Oh, okay. Hold on. Sorry. Sorry. I'll I'll do stuff like this all day. I love this stuff. Okay, here we go. Don't worry, Dan. I'm only going to play a second of it. We won't get killed for this. Okay. Here we go. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Hold on. Hold on.
Right?
Hold on. Oh, I ain't done yet. Got that? Let's see. I'm going to freak out. Hold on. Same key. It's also in the same key. It literally is. It's completely ripped off.
Yep.
Yep.
See?
It's the same song. Yep. Absolutely.
It blew my mind.
And it's the same key. It's the same key too. It's not even. They're not even trying to hide it.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. That's so cool. Chris, here we go. Here we go. Now, I used to play that live. I used to play this one live.
Oh, wow.
So okay, so there's another one there, like this other idea here, and it's the way he would. Okay, so here again, bass is not prominent in this mix at all,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm listening to this through studio monitor, so it's there, but it's buried. But it's also his use of percussion.
Yeah.
It's so good the way he would use it and the way he would mix it. So cool. And there, of course, with that performance there, he's using that kind of nasally, very cool, but nasally delivery of that. That blows me away. Everyone's stealing from Prince. Stevie Nicks, Phil Collins. I bet the Beatles would do it too if they were still together and around. Probably steal some Prince stuff. Actually, I guarantee you that if the Beatles were still an entity and they were all still alive, Prince would have collaborated. They would have had him in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No question. Plus, man, look at those outfits. I don't know. And that's the other thing. Okay, so this is the other thing I wanted to touch on too. Was I've gotten this question a lot when especially with guitar players, is I've always been asked, what would Jimi Hendrix been doing if he had survived, had he lived? And obviously, a different time and whatnot. So, but I kind of see what Prince did as an extension of what Hendrix started.
Yes.
And that was because, again, like when I first saw the 1967 Monterey Pop Festival, Hendrix comes walking out with this pink scarf around his neck, feather scarf around his neck, opens up with Killing Floor, and it works. It pulls it off. Not everybody can do that. And Prince did the same thing in everything he ever appeared in. No matter what he wore, he pulled it off. It worked. And that's the unique part of his art, is that he was it. It always worked for him. Oh, okay. Look at this. Oh, I love this. Yes. Well, that. Yeah, that's true, Matt. That is very true. Yeah, Neil Sean was extremely flattered by that phone call. So the Purple Rain solo, the outro solo at the end, is very reminiscent of Journey's Faithfully solo. And Prince actually called Neil Sean to say, hey, look, you're not going to sue me, are you? Don't believe me? Check it out. Hold on, we got to do one more. Hold on. So we have faithfully.
Mhm.
This is so good. Faithfully. Hold on, I can't spell. I can't. Apparently, I can't do anything right today. I'm muting myself. Can't spell. I got it right here. Okay, so if you took faithfully my journey, and then what do we have? Hold on. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Yeah. Sorry. So we're just going to fast forward here to the. This is another song I used to play live in a casino band. Everyone wanted to hear this one. Hold on. Here we go. So we're just going to fast forward right to the outro and faithfully. Let's see. I know the keys are different. This much I know because I've played both of these songs. Here it. There it is. God, the 80s were so cool. Nothing comes close. Okay. That's the other thing. Everybody actually sang.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't use that auto tune. Yep. It's the same phrase. It's the same phrase. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. So,
Wow.
Prince.
I,
Prince is inspired by Journey. Phil Collins is inspired by Prince. Just
Actually, this
keeps
will be a
going.
fun little game to the viewers that are watching this on YouTube right
Oh,
now. If
you
there's
know.
any songs that are literal rip-offs of Prince, put
Yep.
them in the comments below so that Chris and I can go down rabbit holes and compare and contrast all of them.
Absolutely.
We
Yeah.
will. We
And
absolutely will.
I'll transcribe them too to make sure. Yeah. I'm still blown away that studio's in the same key. It's like, at least have the decency.
I know. God, when I found out, I was shell shocked on the show. I'm like, what? And I heard it in my own head. I'm like, oh my God, it is. Like,
Yeah, well, I'm blown away because I can't believe I never noticed it. It's kind of like not, it's kind of like seeing something in front of your face for years and not knowing, and then taking a step back. So, we were talking earlier, to just wrap this segment up here. We were talking earlier about the Stevie Nicks tune, "Stand Back," inspired by
Little Red
Little
Corvette.
Red Corvette. Okay, so, and of course we know that Prince played the keyboards on this. So now I have to know this for myself because I won't be able to sleep if I don't. I need to see if this is in the same key because this is already public knowledge that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I always seem to have one of these laying around. Got it. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so let's see.
That was
I don't
jam.
think this. Yeah, it's so good. Little Red Corvette, which is co-sung by his guitar player at the time. Of course, I got to get into it. See, same key. It's the same key. It's the same key. But she gets a pass. Stevie Nicks gets a pass.
Yeah, she didn't copy.
Prince,
She collaborated.
Yeah, she collaborated. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's so awesome.
Well,
All right, what else you got on Prince?
well, other than spouting out what our diehard favorite Prince song is, that would be the wrap up.
Okay.
Do you have a diehard favorite Prince song?
Oh yes, I do. I do. Yes. Hold on. Sorry, I got to do this.
Mhm.
It's so good. And I, you know, stepping outside of the 80s here, but I got to do this. See, it's just that arrangement is just so good. Yeah, so almost everything off of Diamonds and Pearls, but Diamonds and Pearls is probably my all-time. You know, that's my favorite. So there you go. And thank you, Matt, for bringing that up. Oh, oh yeah, that was Kid Creole and the Coconuts, who had a recording, and Prince wrote a song for them called "Sex of It." Sex of It. Is that a play on "Sick of It"? I'm not familiar with that one. Thanks, Matt. I'll check that one out. Does it sound like Sussudio? Does it sound like a Genesis song, maybe? I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm joking, guys. Sorry. Anyway, that was fun. It was fun.
That
Now I'm going to be listening to Prince all night.
Hell yeah.
Very cool.
Ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, thank you for checking out this episode of Those Crazy 80s, where we talked all about Prince. Once again, if you have any Prince songs that are rip-off songs of Prince songs, please leave them in the comments so that we can dissect them and talk about them like crazy. If you like what you see here with either of us, you can follow me on patreon.com/FoxyFoxxy, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at VivaFoxy, and youtube.com/VivaFoxyFoxy. Chris, where can the lovely viewers find you?
They can find me on Facebook. They can also find me at Bandcamp /Chris Gordon and Reverb Nation. I've got a new record coming out, instrumental record called Chronicles of Chaos, and it all sounds like Prince songs. They're basically Prince songs in retrograde. That's basically what they are. No, I'm not that good, but yeah, there you go. So.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Blouses.
Now I'm in the blouses. Hey, blouses. I'm going to go take a bath in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. All right. Very good. See you guys all soon. Take care. And I'm very proud I didn't use any bad language. Thank you.
I did.